Beltway 95 sports fans. On this week's episode, week 1, the Ravens against the Browns. What a tremendous win for the Ravens on this week's episode of Beltway 95 Sports. Welcome back to this week's episode of Beltway 95 Sports. Like I said, we're going to cover week 1, the Browns and the Ravens game. And today, this final score ended up being the Ravens 38, the Browns 6. It was more of a blowout than I expected. I thought it was going to be more of a closer game, especially being week 1 and there was no preseason. I figured a lot of ring rust would be on the team, but Lamar did his thing today. He was safe. You saw he did some major footwork, but he really relied on his arm today. Now that one pass he did to Mark Andrews in the end zone, he had to jump up a little bit to actually catch that ball, which was a great catch for him. But it seemed like he's getting off on the right foot. You know, with the 10 touchdowns he had last year, like he's on record for at least 15 this season, if we have a full season. But I like what Lamar did. He didn't take too many chances. He did run out of bounds just to make sure he saved himself. But I thought it was a great win. The Browns really showed us what they're all about. I think Baker Mayfield's still trying to find himself. OBJ really couldn't get started. Like I said, he really couldn't get any foot in it. I think he went out of the game a couple of times. He actually went out and got an IV probably before the second half, if I believe. But he never really was a factor in today's game. So Ben Chubbs, I think he only had like 10 carries to 60 yards. I'm not sure. I think that's what it was. But he really wasn't a factor at all. It seemed like the Ravens started to pull away in the second half. They controlled the clock. They did a tremendous job of slowing the Browns down. And one of the things I really like to point out was, we all talk about how amazing the franchise is and how, dedicated that sorry about the Texans, but we have questions coming in. But how tremendous that the Ravens really support their fan base. I've done a lot of work for the Ravens. You may all know the captain of defense is my uncle. If you from Baltimore, you know who he is. He's doing some great things with the Ravens as well since 1996, since they've been here. But the most thing that stood off to me is that everybody was like, well, how they're going to get off, with no fans in the stands, whatever. But I looked at a section that was called Mo's section, and if you're from Baltimore area, you know about Mo, Superfan for the Orioles and the Ravens, and everybody loved Mo. He was only 14, but he was an amazing figure. My son's 14 too, but what we do here is for children with special needs and adults with special needs and Special Olympics and Pathfinds for Autism. And with Mo, he was a symbol of strength. And he was an amazing person. And it's a shame that we had to lose him. And I know his mother is hurting and grieving right now. But I believe that she takes in the fact that he doesn't have to suffer anymore. And the Ravens put in the Baltimore end zone, they really highlighted Mo. And then right after halftime, I believe they did CBS, or they did a background why that the Braves had done that. So they give a backstory to Mo. I think that was a great tribute to him, and he'll never be forgotten. And I hope and pray that the Ravens do continue on and do a great playoff run, and then they do really something special for Mo. That touched me the most was that tribute to Mo. He was a real special figure, and like I said, what we do here is not about me, and like I said, I'm not an expert. I don't have all the answers, and that what the Ravens trainers get hired for. Just my opinion on what I think the Ravens should do or what. But Mo was a very important figure to all of us, and I love kids with special needs, and like I said, I have a son with special needs and actually lost one to Down syndrome. So that's what this is all about. So I'm trying to grow this thing. But other than that, Lamar and him had a great game. I think Willie Snead, he actually got a great touch in the, touchdown in the end zone. And then we started getting the J.K. Dobbins. I think he actually got 2 touchdowns today. So you see that they're really implementing the rookies slowly but surely. Let's see. Marquis, he did his thing. I don't think he had too many carries today, but he did help control the clock as well. But, overall, I think it was a tremendous win. It was safe. Nobody really got hurt, but I know that now, as far as getting hurt, on our blind side, I hope that, we don't suffer too much as far as our long side. And it's crazy. Jesus dumb, I can't even remember the left tackle's name right now, but I know he went out for an MRI, so hopefully he'll be fine. But Pernell McPhee, he used to be on the Ravens, so now he's back. He's making a tremendous impact in that game today. But overall, the Ravens stayed safe. They came out with a Week 1 win, which is giving tremendous, momentum heading into next week's game against the Texans, and actually in Texas. So hopefully that'll be a strong opponent than what the Browns were today. But hopefully they can catapult, because then they're going to have to see Kansas City too. So that's going to be an important game. So these next 4 games are very important for the Ravens to see what direction they're going to go into. But I know the Kansas City game is supposed to be here in Baltimore. But overall, I think it was a great win. They did their thing. Everybody was safe. And like here, I just looked on ESPN. I see like some numbers here. Like you got, you got Chubb, like I said, he only had 10 carries for actually 60 yards here. Baker Mayfield, 21 for 39, 189 yards. And then the top receiver for them was actually, you had Jamal Landry with 5 receptions for 61 yards. So overall, the Browns had a pretty good game, but they really couldn't fight off that defense from the Ravens. That's what I always say. Hobbs always has the team prepared, and looked like, just like today, it was no question they were prepared today. Sometimes we can always question, like when the Ravens went to last year's playoff game against Tennessee, they really didn't look like they were prepared. It looked like they had too much of a rest, and they were always playing from behind, trying to play catch up. But like Lamar here had 20 attempts, 20 for 25. He had 275 yards and 3 touchdowns. And then you had RG3 actually got into the game towards the tail end, and he had 1 attempt for 9 yards as well. So you had Mark Ingram, 10 carries for 29 yards. J.K. Dobbins, 7 for 22 yards, 3.1 average, and then he ended up having 2 touchdowns, so great for him. But like I said, the team got off to a great start, and I just can't wait to see what they do next week in Texas, and I think that's going to be a little sign to see what direction this team's going to. So I have here, this is my dumpster award right here, if you kind of can see it right here, and I'm giving it to the Cleveland Browns. There's some trash I picked up with that, but this goes to Cleveland Brown. All that hype they talked about during the week that they was gonna, replicate that win they had on the Ravens last year in Baltimore, and they did absolutely basically nothing. It seemed like they were unprepared and slow, and they just couldn't get nothing going, whatever. But shout outs to the Ravens, and I want you guys to be safe. I appreciate your time, and like I say, wear your mask and.